a whole lot of people that are going to be real tired by the time Thursday gets around.
Why, good morning. 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 Why, good morning.
Father, we thank you for these beautiful people.
Why, good morning. Why, good morning. Why, good morning. Why, good morning. Why, good morning.
Nice. Charged up. Let's go get it.
Why, good morning. Why, good morning. Why, good morning.
The redneck word of the day, we's not. We's not gonna come back until job's done.
Why, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I was asked to talk about what we are going to be doing here in the Cleveland, Ohio area for hashtag BK at home. And we are going to be working 2 days, kind of in the inner city. We're going to be on West 78th and Detroit area. And then we're going to be 2 days out on a farm, a self-sustaining farm in Wakeman, Ohio. So for the first couple days of the week, we're going to be going through some donations that were made of toiletries, clothes, household items like curtains and whatnot, finding out what we should keep, what we should pitch. Once we get through that, we're gonna clean some spaces, deep cleaning, scrubbing walls, floors. Then once we get done with that, we're gonna be painting, primer, kind of just setting it up for a clean canvas for the church to then come in and get it how they want it. We're also going to be doing some landscaping and yard work, mowing lawns, maybe some power washing, trimming of some trees. So that's what we're going to be doing the first couple days. And then when we head out to Wakeman, we're going to be working at this farm, which is also one of our church's campgrounds. And because we haven't been able to go to church and we haven't been able to go to camp, we've canceled all of our camp sessions this summer. We need to help them. They don't have the finances or the staffing to do some maintenance. So we're gonna be scraping picnic tables and painting them. There's a lot of hiking trails and some trees fell over this spring. And so we're gonna be renting chainsaws and cutting up logs and preparing them for firewood. I think we're gonna be mulching some stuff, some walking trails. So we have a core group of about 22 missionaries, about 12 teenage boys, and about 10 adults. And so we're really looking forward to still being able to do this. It was, I'm sure for everybody out in BK world, it was a roller coaster where one day we were still coming to West Virginia and then we weren't. And then, okay, we're gonna do something at home. Wait, we're not allowed to do something at home. So we are really excited and grateful and hope to have the Holy Spirit leading us through this week, because it's a little scary with this invisible virus out there and keeping us safe, but still being the hands and feet of God in our community. I think we can all attest to folks that we help are struggling. That's why they need the help. And this pandemic didn't improve anything in their lives. It made it just so much worse. And so the need has been there, but it's definitely even a bigger and broader need than it was before. So we're really excited to still be able to do this. We've pulled together supplies. We've got paint, we've got paintbrushes, trays. I have some chainsaws on reserve, and so we feel really blessed that we're still going to be able to move ahead with this. I wanted to read something. I was asked what BK means to our kids, because it's life-changing for our kids, our adults, and then also the people that we're helping. So I wanted to read something from a sermon that we did last year when we came back home. So it says, I'm sure that we can all agree that fixing homes is important, but what is even more important is building relationships with the residents of Jackson County. We are a little ashamed to admit it, but when we first started going on mission, it was really about fixing things for folks that had broken stuff. That all changed pretty quickly when we learned the culture of the area, the struggles these folks face, and their life stories. God works in miraculous ways, and we know He brings each of us to each of these residents with a mission. But He's also bringing them to us. Since BK has been in mission for 20 years, the entire county seems familiar with the 200 of us moving in 1 week each summer. We are all assigned matching work shirts, so this has enabled our relationships to go even further in the community. Everywhere we go for a week, we are in uniform and recognized, thanked, and loved by an entire county. This has enabled our relationships to go even deeper with folks who we are not working directly for. On that note, we want to share with you that BK received an award for the first responders of Jackson County for repairing stairs, wheelchair ramps, and porches. There is a lot of disease, addiction, and illness throughout the county, and crucial time was being spent trying to get folks out of their homes and into transport vehicles and to the hospital. Our work is not only helping the residents, but also the community as a whole. And so that was our experience at BK, and we've learned so much from missioning with them that can't wait to use all the skills and the tools that we have in our toolbox to do that for our communities. And hopefully, it'll continue back in West Virginia next year, but maybe even add a mission trip again in our own community. And like I said, building that relationship with our own folks in our own county. We're just really looking forward to that. And I think the theme was added this year. There's a theme at BK. It's been the bridge of hope and some other things. And this year it says love your neighbor. And so we're all able to do that in our own communities. And it's going to be a life-changing week, and I can't wait. Go BK.
So the classroom that you're painting is actually your Sunday school classroom for your little children. What do you think their reaction will be?
Wow, and the chalkboard paint will be colored on it next time.
Anything you would like to tell anybody that was thinking about Brothers Keepers?
that you should definitely do it. It's an eye-opening experience that I think more teenagers should do.
This year is different, because we're out of hometown working instead of up in Parchment Valley. But we're still doing work for the Lord. It's kind of crazy.
Okay. So, what would you tell someone that was thinking about going to Brothers Keepers?
Definitely do it. The most fun year of my life. It was so fun. And you get to do work for the Lord with people you usually wouldn't work with.
So let me guess, you're painting.
Yeah, could you tell?
We waited for this day, we gathered in your name, calling out to you. Your glory like a fire, awakening desire, will burn our hearts with truth. You're the reason we're here, you're the reason we're singing. Open up the heavens, we want to see you. Open up the floodgates, a mighty river flowing from your heart, filling every part of our praise. Yeah. Open up the heavens, we want to see you. Open up the floodgates, a mighty river flowing from your heart, filling every part of our praise. Your presence in this place, your glory on our face. We're looking to the sky, descending like a cloud. You're standing with us now. Oh Lord, unveil our eyes. You're the reason we're here. You're the reason we're singing. Open up the heavens, we want to see you. Open up the floodgates, a mighty river flowing from your heart, filling every part of our praise. Open up the heavens, we want to see you. Open up the floodgates, a mighty river flowing from your heart, filling every part of our praise. Show us your glory. Show us your power. Show us your glory, Lord. Show us your glory. Show us your power. Show us your glory, Lord. Come on, show us, Lord. Show us your glory. Show us your power. Show us your glory, Lord. Open up the heavens, we want to see you. Open up the floodgates, a mighty river flowing from your heart, filling every part of our praise. Yeah. Open up the heavens, we want to see you. Open up the floodgates, a mighty river flowing from your heart, filling every part of our praise.
Actually, the very first year that that they did this, I missed the deadline to register my youth group. I had just got started in youth ministry. I started, I think, June 8th, and I missed the deadlines for that first year in 2001. But they still let me come and do a couple things. I think I took some meals to a house, and I didn't even know this place existed. And I remember opening up that first packed lunch, and a melted chunk of cheese was in there, and all kind of things. But Brothers Keeper meant to me just that growing a ministry for a group of people that needed help.
Brothers Keeper is definitely a unique camp. As an introvert myself, I was very nervous going into Brothers Keeper, and you're thrown into a crew with a bunch of kids that you don't know, and you're thrown with 2 adult leaders that you don't know, and then you go to a house where you don't know the people that live there, and you get to learn a whole bunch of stuff that you don't know, like how to build a porch or how to power wash. There's just so many valuable skills that Brothers Keepers teaches you. It's definitely worth it, even from the introvert side of things, because you meet so many new people, but you also get to learn so much, and you get to see and show God's love in person and in action. And that love, I mean, it's just so tangible at Brothers Keeper, and the love that the campers and the adults have for each other, but also the love that we all have for the houses that we work on.
How I got started with Brothers Keeper, I went with Emmanuel Baptist Church, because that was my church I always go to stuff with. So you had Tashawn, Vaughn, Debbie, Katie, and that whole crew, Matt Lyons, and that crew. and it was awesome. We got to build ramps, build like a concrete stairs. The overall atmosphere was really great. You get to meet other youth groups where you just like there for a whole week, where you actually get to like physically work with people that's your age, and get to meet them as well and build relationships.
We were looking for ways to provide that opportunity for people to exercise their faith, to put hands and feet to what they believed in their heart and make a difference in the lives of other people. And doing it in such a way that it wasn't for show or expecting something in return, but it was essentially servant evangelism, that if you are a follower of Christ, you're going to do the work of Christ in the world. You're going to do it without fanfare or expect for reward in this life, but that you're just going to try to show Jesus to people by the way you live. And that's what Brothers Keeper, I think, is all about.
Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You've been so, so good to me. Before I took the breath, you breathed your life in me. So, so kind to me. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it. Still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Your foe, still your love fought for me. You have been so, so good to me. And I felt no worth, but you paid it all for me. You have been so, so kind to me. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. No wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. No shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. No shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, flights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I don't deserve it, I couldn't earn it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God,
Good evening, brothers keepers. Good to see you all, wherever you are. I want to welcome you this morning to a place that has become very important to me. Way back in March, when this whole pandemic shutdown began, for my own mental health, I decided I needed to take up early morning walking again. It was always been a part of my life, but in the last few years I kind of got out of the habit. And so I decided to start taking walks, and on the second or third morning that I took a walk, I stumbled upon this place. And this place has become incredibly important to me. This place I consider to be a gift that God led me to, or gave me, in order to be able to survive this pandemic shutdown. And this spot where I'm standing, there's a bench over here where I sit each morning with my cup of coffee. This morning has become my lifeline, the way I have mentally and spiritually survived this experience that we've all been going through together. Good morning. And here's a nice lady that walks by every morning and we greet each other. And this has just become a very important spot to me during this pandemic crisis. So thank you for joining me here this morning in my prayer. And wherever you are, I think I'm the third night sermon, the Wednesday night sermon maybe, but you've probably heard this text twice by my other colleagues who are preaching with you. And I'm just going to read it again. Mark 12, chapter 28 and following. One of the scribes came near and heard them disputing with one another. And seeing that he answered them well, he asked them, "Which commandment is the first of all?" And Jesus answered, "The first is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. And the second is this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these." And then the scribe said to him, "You are right, teacher. You have truly said that he is one, and besides him there is no other. And to love him with all the heart and with all the understanding and with all the strength, and to love one's neighbor as oneself, this is much more important than whole burnt offerings and sacrifices." And when Jesus saw that he answered wisely, he said to him, "You are not far from the kingdom of God." You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. And of course, that's the heart of what we're all about in Brothers Keepers, loving God by loving our neighbor. I love that passage of scripture, and it shows us it shows us one very important thing, and that is that Jesus was and is a very faithful Jew. When he's asked, "What is the first and great commandment?" he replies by saying, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is God alone." And you may or may not know this, but in Judaism, that's called the Shema. The Shema. It's the most important prayer in Judaism. Faithful Jews want to be saying that prayer, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one," as they die. And if you know, or if you have any friends who are faithful Jews and you've been to their house, you will find that on every doorpost, every lintel of every door, there's this little thing, looks like a little tube. Some are very plain, some are very elaborate. And it's called a mezuzah. And inside that mezuzah is a tiny little scroll, tiny little piece of parchment scroll. And on that scroll is inscribed these words. And these words are from Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 4 and following. This is called the Shema, the most important prayer in Judaism. "Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord alone. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. Keep these words that I'm commanding you today in your heart. Recite them to your children and talk about them when you are at home and when you are away and when you lie down and when you rise. Bind them as a sign on your hand, fix them as an emblem on your forehead, and write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates." And the mezuzah is literally how they obey that last part about inscribing those words on their doorposts. And when a faithful Jew walks from room to room or into a house, they will take their finger and kiss that mezuzah to, in a sense, kiss those words. "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." Shema, hear. And when Jesus answers the scribe, he answers as any good faithful Jew does. And then Jesus adds something. He adds that second commandment. We call them together now the Great Command. The Great Commandment. Love the Lord your God with all your soul, with all your might, and with all your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. We call that the Great Commandment, we Christians do. And that second part is not actually in, those words exactly are not actually in the Old Testament anywhere. Love your neighbor. They're implied. There's all kinds of places where the neighbor is mentioned, but love your neighbor is never really actually all together in one place said. And a lot of scholars have noticed that when Jesus adds that, he seems to be echoing a great teacher of his time, a man named Rabbi Hillel. And Rabbi Hillel is famous for a story. He's a famous rabbi, incredible interpreter of the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, the scriptures of Judaism. And Rabbi Hillel was famous for a story told about him in which a Roman soldier came up to Rabbi Hillel and said, "Rabbi Hillel, I will convert to Judaism if you can explain to me the Torah while I stand on one foot." Which is another way of saying, you know, as long as you should be able to explain this in the time that it takes me to get too tired to stand on one foot, or you, Rabbi, to stand on one foot. So explain the Torah to me in less time that I can stand, you can stand on one foot. And he asked one rabbi this. He asked Rabbi Shammai this question, and Rabbi Shammai dismissed him and said, "Get out of my face. You're not taking this seriously enough." And then he went to Rabbi Hillel, who was the other great teacher of Israel at the time, and he said this, and Rabbi Hillel said, "Oh, no problem, I can do that." And this is what Rabbi Hillel said. The Torah on one foot is this: what is hateful to you, do not do to your neighbor. This is the whole Torah. The rest is interpretation. Go and learn. We've come to call that the golden rule. Don't do to anybody else what you would not want done to yourself. We call that the golden rule, and it comes from Rabbi Hillel, and a lot of scholars have suggested that maybe Jesus had Rabbi Hillel's teaching in mind when he added that second commandment to the first and great commandment. It's very interesting. But what it means is that you and I are people for whom love of God and love of neighbor are inseparable. And that's what we try to understand the Brother's Keeper. And for me, and I think for a lot of you who've been to Brother's Keeper before, I think I've been 5 or 6 times. I always love doing the work, the power washing and the nail hammering and the deck building and the roof slopping and all those things that we do and get nice and dirty and hot and sweaty, and come back and feel good, because we should feel good. We're doing things for people. But what I find most fascinating are the reports that come back from all those work sites about the conversations that people have. The conversations with the folks we go to serve. The conversations about their lives, about their struggles, about their faith. And while the building and the hammering and the nailing and the sweating and the going to the fast food joints and all that is very important, I think over the years that I've been going with our kids from St. Peter's, the important thing is the stories and the relationships that people have. And it reminds me of one of the most important features of what it means to love. Yeah, of course, love means doing things for people. It means making a house that's a wreck a little more habitable for somebody who hasn't got any money. That's amazingly important. God bless you. God bless us all for doing that. But more important is the ministry of listening to these people, of learning about them. And over again, I have seen and I have witnessed people going to Brother's Keeper. I'm sorry, there's bugs all around me. I don't know if you can see them. One just got my eye. And what I do every morning is I come out here and I listen. And I listen not just with my 2 ears, but with my 2 eyes, with my skin, to feel this air, to see this beautiful blue sky, bluer than it's ever been and bluer than it will ever be again, because there's no jet planes flying over constantly. This is an east-west jetway right here. And since we haven't had many jets in the air, the sky in the morning and the sunrises in the morning have been spectacular. I'm listening to the birds, and they're having a grand time while we're all locked in our houses. I'm listening to the midges. But I come out here every morning and I say my prayers, and I listen and I look and I soak in the love of God that's all around us. This beautiful lake, which changes its complexion every day. Today it's flat, almost mirror-like. Tomorrow there could be waves rolling in and spray splashing up. But I come here to listen. I think the best way you and I can love God is to listen. God is always speaking. God is always showing us things. God is always inviting us. And the best way you can do that is to just be quiet and listen and let God speak. In the sunrise, in the bird song, in the quacking ducks and the honking geese, in the waves, and in the play of light. It's amazing. So I've come out here every morning to love God by listening. And it makes me able to go back out in that world where people are crazy. I'm giving you this meditation at the end of what I think has been the scariest week of my adult life. Probably the scariest week of your young lives as well. We're at each other's throats politically and socially. We're terrified of this pandemic. Our economy is crashing around us. We wonder if we're going to survive. We will, but it's scary in the moment. And so sitting here early in the morning and bathing myself in God's glory enables me to go back and do the work I have to do, which is so hard right now for all of us, and love my neighbor. And not do to my neighbor anything, or not say to my neighbor, or type on Facebook, or make an Instagram post. Not do anything like that I wouldn't want done to me. To love my neighbor as myself. And this week, wherever you are, hopefully you and your youth group are dealing with the disappointment of not being in West Virginia by serving your neighbors there, wherever you are. That's what our youth group is doing this week. Serving the neighbors that God gives us. And the most important way you can serve them is to listen to them. God gave you one mouth and two ears, as someone once said. Use them accordingly. So don't talk so much. Listen. Listen to your own heart. Listen to creation. Listen to God. Listen to one another. And in both way, and in that way, you not only love God, you not only love your neighbor, you love yourself. So I'm going to be silent for a second, and I'm going to turn the camera around and just let it sit. The sun is kind of coming up, but it's a little hazy on the horizon, so we won't get to see a beautiful red orb come up, but it'll still be beautiful. And I'm just going to let this video run for about another minute, and you can enjoy what I get to enjoy every morning as I sit here with my coffee and with my God and with God's glorious creation, to love God, so that I can pack all this up, go home, take a shower, and get to work loving my neighbor. God bless all of you. I hope you have a good summer in spite of all that's going on, and be well. Peace. Bye-bye.
don't have a job, don't pay your bills, don't buy you a home in Beverly Hills. Won't fix your life in 5 easy steps. Ain't the law of the land or the government, but it's all you need, and love will hold us together, make us a shelter to weather the storm, and I'll be my brother's keeper, so the whole world will know that we're not alone. It's waiting for you, knocking at your door. Every moment of truth in your heart's on the floor, and it's all you need, and love will hold us together, make us a shelter to weather the storm, and I'll be my brother's keeper, so the whole world will know that we're not alone. This is the first day of the rest of your life. This is the first day of the rest of your life. So even in the dark, you can still see the light. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. This is the first day of the rest of your life. This is the first day of the rest of your life. And even in the dark, you can still see the light. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. Love will hold us together, make us a shelter to weather the storm, and I'll be my brother's keeper, so the whole